Welcome to Evalasting Peace, where we discuss eternal love and eternal grief and all things related to trying to conceive, prenatal diagnosis, pregnancy, and baby loss. My name's Lori. I'm the mother of Eva, my daughter who was born and died in 2017. Today, we're going to start way back at the beginning. I received a lovely email from a father who also received a prenatal diagnosis. So a shout out to him. You know who you are, but I really appreciated you reaching out and letting me know that my videos were touching someone. And it really inspires me to keep going. I finally got myself a little lapel mic, so hopefully you can hear me better now. So 2014, that is the year when we started trying to conceive a sibling for our son, Max. Max was only 4 at the time. My husband had just lost his mother, and it really kind of jump-started our desire to bring in another life, realizing that life is precious, time is short, and I had always known that I wanted a second child. My husband wasn't always so sure. I was raised as an only child. My siblings are much older than me, my half-brothers by my father. So we didn't grow up in the same household, and I really longed to give my son a sibling to grow up with. My husband, on the other hand, did have 2 brothers who he loves, and one is only 2 years younger, and they're close now. But he was probably just a little overwhelmed with fatherhood and all that comes with that, and feeling really grateful for the healthy, vibrant, full of life child that we already had. Joe had an inner feeling that we shouldn't press things, which is, you're going to hear me say a lot, there's a lot that we learn in reflection. And there's an inner knowing that I think we're all aware of, but don't always acknowledge. And I think there was an inner knowing within my husband. But I am someone who gets, when I know what I want, I go for it. So we started trying in July 2014. And at the same time, his younger brother and his wife had already started trying for a second child as well. So we thought, she's like my sister, my best friend, and it would just be that childhood fantasy of getting pregnant with your bestie. And it took them a few months, and they ended up getting pregnant with our little nephew, who is now 6. Instead, her sister got pregnant with her, so they had that little fantasy. And where it had been pretty simple getting pregnant with our son, the months wore on and we just were not getting pregnant. And I think I had these timelines I kept coming up with in my mind. So, for instance, I started yoga teacher training in October of 2014. And I thought how precious that would be to become pregnant with a child when I'm doing this amazing journey and opening my mind, body, soul to yoga. They could be a little yogi with me. And I had even told my yoga teacher that I was trying to conceive, just in case I couldn't do inversions or that kind of thing. And I also had this timeline thinking, it'd be wonderful to get pregnant so that I had the baby before my son started kindergarten. And this timeline changed over time as we weren't getting pregnant. Well, maybe then it'd be great if we got pregnant when my son was, or gave birth when my son was out of school for the summer. I always had this desire to have our older son have a few months with their sibling where he was just home all the time getting to know them. That came to fruition later for us, but 5 years later, when COVID hit, and magically my older son was home doing school and his baby brother was born. But that's jumping ahead. We are now in 2014. The months are rolling by. The negative pregnancy tests Max is getting older. That was a fear of ours, of mine especially. I didn't want to put too much time between them. I had brothers who were 17 and 19 years older than me. I wanted these children to be closer in age, to interact with each other, to have similarities and similar interests. So, planning. I am type A planner, and this wasn't happening, and it was going against my plan. And as the months wore on, it became a struggle. Fears started setting in. And I'm here to tell you that bringing children into this world will go against our plans for some of us. And there's a bigger plan going on that we may not be privy to. And in reflection, you might realize that that plan is actually better than the one you had originally hoped for. There might be unknowns that come to fruition that make perfect sense. And we can't know that at the time. So on this channel, I'm going to get more into the soul aspect of it all. I don't identify with a religion, but I do identify with spirituality and the idea of spirit babies, that we choose our parents, that we choose a time to come in that serves a greater good for our soul plan, for our parents' soul plan, for our siblings' soul plan. It's so much greater than just, I want to conceive a baby, boom, here they are. There's a bigger plan that we can never fully understand. And that has taken me time to acknowledge and understand for myself. And trying to conceive when it is long and arduous and heartbreaking and going against everything that we envisioned, there is something that it is teaching us. I don't think I've met a parent who struggled with infertility that hasn't acknowledged the fact that they learned and they grew through this heartbreaking journey. It's never, of course, the way we want to learn or grow as human beings, but I think as we reflect, we recognize that most times when we grow and learn as humans, it's during heartbreak or hard times. When the going is good, then there's nothing to focus on and learn from. So I'm just going to keep this video short today and use this as a little stepping stone for those who might be trying to conceive now, who might have had a long journey to finally have their child in their arms, to remember that it's bigger than us, that we cannot plan, we cannot choose. The timing is not ours. And bless the people that are able to have a child as soon as they set out to have one. But for those of us who don't, there is a growth and a lot, pardon for that little cutout, there is a growth and a richness that comes to this devastating trying to conceive journey that we wouldn't be able to experience without it. And let me tell you, it makes the moments when those babies do come into body that more rich and fulfilling and heartwarming and grateful. So I'm just going to leave it at that today and let that absorb and soak in, even if you are mad and upset and have all these great plans of why this child should come into being right now. I know that we always hear, just let it go. Just go with the flow. They come, all the things that people try to tell us to make us feel better. The people who oh, they couldn't conceive and then they decided to adopt and boom, then they got pregnant. Those kind of things of just letting it go. So I don't want to sound like this ignorant positivity or whatever we call that. There's just something bigger than we know at play. And patience is hard, and I get it. So sit with your journey. Talk to your child, children, and spirit. There's wisdom there. There's growth there. And we'll talk again soon. Peace.